Welcome to my studio. I'm Wendy O'Brien. Thanks for dropping by. Today, I'm going to review a book from the Strathmore Learning Series, Learn to Draw Nature with Colored Pencil. This is not a sponsored video and I do not get any compensation for this review. This review will be all my own opinions and experiences. The artist who put this project together is Cynthia Knox. She also has a second Learning Series book on how to draw textures. If you would like to see the review I did along with the projects, I will have the card pop up and a link down below in the description. Both use colored pencils and I will compare the two at the end of this video. First, let's start out going through what the book has to offer. The first page gives you the welcome message and a brief overview about Cynthia Knox. There's also a section on what exactly the Learning Series is, how the pad works, and the table of contents. As we flip through the beginning of the book, you'll find out about the appeal of the colored pencils and how to get started in colored pencils. And then it moves on to explain the different types of pencils, basics of colored pencils, the proper way to apply pigment to the paper, a little touch on color theory, and then we move on to the projects themselves. It is not a terribly long read, but it is worth skimming through if you are new to colored pencil, as there is a lot of good basic information in there that will be helpful as you begin your journey. All lessons are set up identical. You'll get a color palette and step-by-step directions on completing each project. The pencils used in this series is a 72 set of Prismacolor Premier pencils. There's also a website you can go to for this series to download the reference and line drawing if you choose. Also, video tutorials are there to help you complete each lesson. The first lesson in this book is the Raspberries. I really enjoyed this project. It was fun to do, and I didn't really have a lot of problems with the directions on this particular project. Here we have a parrot for lesson 2, and I wasn't really looking forward to this project when I did it, but I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I was really surprised. I didn't have too many problems with the directions on this one either. As we go farther along, you will find that I will start talking about the different problems I had. But for these first couple, I really didn't have that many issues. Here we have a bird of paradise, and I thought I was going to enjoy this project way more than I did, and I was really surprised that I didn't like it. And I'm not sure if it was the day or if it was just the way the directions read. I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy it. But I was looking forward to it. Unlike the parrot where I wasn't looking forward to it, but I actually enjoyed the process of that one. We then have the butterfly on the leaf, and I did struggle a little bit with this project. Some of the directions I felt weren't necessarily in the right order maybe. I don't know. There was just some things that maybe I just didn't read right or something. The project turned out well. I wasn't a super big fan of this project. I took some things away from the way she had us do it for sure. And we now come to the Jabara Daisy. Everything was good for the most part until we got to the water droplets. I really didn't care for the way that the directions were for the water droplets themselves. I ended up going over it at the end and kind of doing my own little twist on it instead, which I felt turned out way better. But try it, see if it works out for you. For me, I didn't like the technique and I didn't like the look, so I just went over it, did it a different way. The fawn, well, the fawn probably would have been fine had I not picked up the wrong color in the first place. And this is kind of where some things went a little awry for me in this book. I don't know if it was the directions or maybe it was just me picking up the wrong color. I did struggle with some of the directions a little bit when you get farther into the project. I wasn't clear as to exactly what areas I was supposed to. I mean, she says, but it's not always clear. I think a combination of picking up the wrong color in the first place and then just struggling to get through the project. He turned out really cute. I think I just started out disheartened. It happens. I was glad to be done with this project for sure. The Seascape. I really enjoyed the Seascape. I hadn't really done a background like this in colored pencil, and the directions were fine for the most part. There were a couple things that had I done it on my own without the directions, I would have done it in a different manner, but I liked the way it came out. And I I don't really have any complaints about this project. Now this project, there was a lot to be had with this project. Number one, she has you do this yellow, which is fine. But then really soon on, we're going in with this green. I kind of didn't understand why we were going in with the green, because you still had to blend your edges with lighter yellows. And if you even touch the green, it started bringing some of the green in. So if you were to do this project, I would wait to do the background until later, after you're done burnishing on the edge of the flower. I did not find the pencils laid down very well for this. Like, the colors were fine, but I was just downright struggling. I think this is the one that I ended up taking a really long break, because I was just getting so frustrated with the last 3 projects. So I ended up taking a long break in between and jumped back into the fighting fish, which we're going to get to in a minute. But this project, I don't know, for whatever reason, I struggled with it. And I really enjoy doing flowers typically, but for whatever reason, I struggled with this one. The fighting fish. That was another one. One problem I had with the fighting fish, I did a fighting fish in the other book, and I just felt like this was a repeat. But I didn't want to give you guys a video and a review of projects that I didn't do. So I wanted to make sure that I at least did the projects, even though I felt it was a repeat. And I don't like repeating myself. I did struggle with some of the color blends, but I don't know, my game was off. It really was. And I ended up taking a long break. That's why this video has taken so long. I really needed to just get away from it and figure things out, I guess. I struggled a lot with this. It turned out okay. I definitely like my other fighting fish better than this fighting fish, but it's great practice. The blue jay I actually enjoyed. I even enjoyed doing the background. I actually got the blurred effect. The bird popped off the background. I didn't have too many problems with the directions with this particular bird either, so that was very nice. The tomatoes. I was really looking forward to these tomatoes, and I actually enjoyed doing this. The last background, I did struggle a little, but I was happy with it. This background, I actually got it pretty much the way I wanted it, and that was like the 3rd or 4th background, so practice does make perfect. When you get into the blurry backgrounds, just keep layering, keep practicing, you'll get it. This was actually a fun project for me to do. I like doing still lifes and things like this. I was looking forward to it. It kind of rejuvenated me. And we have the Fox Pup. This is the last project in this. Number 1, this book does come with paper. I already did the project, so the paper is gone, but it only came with 11 sheets of paper. Typically it comes with 1 for each project. It only came with 11 sheets, so I didn't have a sheet of paper for this. I did pull out my own sheet, and I was just getting so frustrated with it, and again, I was just disheartened for the entire thing. I didn't enjoy the way the directions were written for this particular project, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the project. This is my work in progress. I just made the decision to just stop in the middle. I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, it was turning out okay. I was not happy with it. If I would have kept going, it probably would have turned out fine. But again, it's just practice. I wasn't attached to this project, like emotionally or anything. I started this one, and I wanted to share this with you that I did start it, but I did not finish it. That decision was made on how much I was struggling and where I was with my art. I just have to stop. So I stopped, and it's okay to stop. Take breaks. Maybe I'll come back to this another time. It ends with how to use this pad, like how to take it off and how to transfer your images. If you would like to see me complete any of these projects, I'll have a card pop up to the link in the description to the playlist, and you can view them there. Overall, one thing that I did like about this series is it does come with the paper to complete your projects on. So really the only thing you need when you purchase something like this, whether it's the watercolor one or the color pencil one or the graphite one, all you need is the book and the supply that you need to draw. So in this case, you would need the color pencils. For the graphite one, you would need basically a graphite pencil. That's all that it required for that. There's a lot of these out there. I think there's a total of, I want to say like 7 or 8. I'm not really sure on the number for different types. If this is something you like to do and just get away, I definitely recommend trying out the series. Here is both of Cynthia's books that she has for the Strathmore Learning Series. Learn to Draw Textures in Color Pencil, Learn to Draw Nature in Color Pencil. I enjoyed the subjects in this book much better than this book. And everyone's going to have their preference. That's perfectly fine. Some may enjoy this book more than this book. Some may like them both because it does have a mixture. Some of the pros and cons of this series. The pro is there is a variety of subject matter in both books. The con, the subject presented may not interest you. Another pro is there are step-by-step instructions, but the con is the instructions are not always clear to understand, and it does take a bit of deciphering from missing a step here or there, or just a bit of ambiguity in the directions themselves. Sometimes it's just really confusing. Another pro is the paper comes with the book, so there's no additional expense, but the con, if you get enough pieces of paper, this one did only include 11. This one did include all 12. If you do buy this in the store, make sure you count the sheets in the back just in case. The pro is the color palette is already selected for your subjects, which is really nice because you can just go in, pick the colors, and then just get started. The con is you must use Prismacolors to take full advantage of this, so if you have other pencils that you're going to use, then you have to do some comparables. And also, not all pencils work the same, so if the student of this book is using a different brand, techniques might vary from one pencil brand to the other because these are waxed. If you use an oil base, you may have to change the techniques a little bit, so that's just something to keep in mind. Another pro is this is a great way to learn how to use your pencils and control them, but again, if you choose to use the brand you don't normally use or don't plan on using in the future, like Prismacolor Premier pencils, because that's what the book is in, but you don't want to use them in the future, then really getting to know them and the way they react and move may not be as beneficial to you as using the color pencils that you would normally use. Not to say that you won't learn a lot and controlling the pencils, and you can take some of that over to the other pencil brands, but just something to keep in mind. Overall, this is a great introduction to color pencils and a great way to learn basics. Don't be afraid to use the instructions as a guideline instead of a rule. This is the time to do those experiments and push those pencils to their limits because you're just practicing. You're not invested in this piece. I did find some of the processes in both books sporadic and all over the place. Everyone works in a different manner, so don't let it frustrate you. If you're new to color pencil and you want to try this, go for it. Just be aware that you may struggle through some of the instructions. Do I recommend this book to beginners? Absolutely. Do I recommend this book to intermediates? I think if you just want to play around and try something new, sure, but if you want something to completely follow step by step to learn more, no, I don't think so. If you'd like to see more reviews, tutorials, speed drawings, or live streams, consider subscribing and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on arting. Bye!